Howdy friends, in today's video we're going to be showing you the Rustoleum Rocksolid Garage Epoxy coating. We'll take you through our experiences here. We're going to show you how the final product looks, how stunning actually it looks. It is surely a DIY project, so people who are on the fence of calling professionals versus doing it on your own, hopefully this video kind of takes you through all what you need before you kind of embark your journey here. So with that, let's get started. So we have just made this video basically two parts. People who don't have much time and just want to look at the quick nuggets in terms of before, after, pain points, mitigation, and any tips on savings. There is a quick 5-minute summary in the beginning, and you can just see that, and that covers majority of the things or majority of the important things, and then you can stop there. People who would like to kind of go more in depth, wanted to kind of see stuff in action, then we have a in-depth video too, but you're more than welcome to just simply skip it. That's a long about 20-25 minutes section there. Okay, so with that, let's get going in the quick summary outline. So our garage is not that old. Our house was built roughly 5 years back. So it's in a pretty good condition. There are definitely tire marks and not much of a grease stains. And as you may be seeing, it looks pretty darn good after this product was applied. It totally transformed the appeal and the aesthetics there. Now, I did not have the impression of this richness at first coat, but I'm going to be talking more how we kind of got into the dual coat and the triple coats. It was purely the circumstantial nature there. With respect to the pain points, I didn't do kind of crazy preparation ahead. As you may be seeing, like some cracks here. Most of these are sort of a very hairline cracks on the floor itself in some areas, and some actually are just the paint, believe me or not. There's no issue on the underlying flooring there. There is an in-depth video where I've shown like how the floor literally looks like right before. So there are chips like this. I've seen like people doing a lot of heavy preparation fixing this and the hairline cracks. I kind of literally chickened out on it. And then I just thought to kind of give it a try before without that. That was just way too much work for me, and I was just not kind of really ready to kind of do that. And here you may be seeing some tire marks. Exactly, I think this was not something which was visible to me before when I prepped the floor, but some of these chips were definitely visible, but then they just pop out after. Now, edges is another interesting thing. For us, the edges were not really smoothened out. There's some extra cement there, as you may be seeing, and after application of the coaters, it actually looks bad in some areas. I do not know what prompted this. It's not that I have applied a little less or a little bit more paint in certain section, but that was another issue we kind of spotted. The other major one we kind of ran into was sort of a discoloration, and that was something which we observed after the second coat. Now there is a history to it, like how what was the reason for the second coat. For me, the one car garage is roughly 275 square foot. The product covers roughly 250 square foot. So I had a need. I think that's something you may want to keep in mind when you see the detailed video. There's more details to it, but in summary, we had this discoloration. This is predominantly because of the product mismatch. It's exactly the same color, exactly the same glossiness feel. It's just a different manufacturing date. So they may be like the product sitting on shelf for more than a year, have changed in their composition and kind of causing these issues, and that causes. So in summary, the mitigation on these is predominantly that you could actually repair these beforehand, the flooring issues, and then think about applying the coat later. Or in our case, since I didn't do it, I went ahead with the second coat, and that actually did a pretty good job. It kind of, for the most part, resolved majority of the issues there for me. For the discoloration, again the same thing, right? The another application of the coat helped resolve that issue, but that would be sort of going in an additional spending of dollars. So I would suggest that you buy the product in bulk ahead. Make sure that the color matches and the manufacturing date is of the same period. Buy in little bulk. Maybe say if you need one kit, go for two. If you need two, just get one extra. And you can very easily return if the kits are packed and never opened without any issue, right? Instead of you running into kind of running short of the product and then buying another one from a different vendor or maybe from the same place but a different manufacturing date, which may run into this issue of the color mismatch. Okay, so that's pretty much it on the pain points and the mitigation. So let's have a look at the supplies and some quick tips on what can you save there. So the idea on this section is to give you some of the lesson learned and maybe some dollar saving tips. When you get the kit, make sure you open it. We had from the 2.5 garage kit, one of the pouches was bad. It was sort of the seal was broken. So definitely check that. You need a 3.5-inch tapered brush. That's something you wouldn't need it for the sides. And you would, of course, need the brush rollers. I would suggest go ahead and buy a better quality brush roller. I just used it towards the fag end, and I can tell you that just made the job so much easier. And keep some extra. We literally had the situation where I lost the brush, and then the shop was closed, and we were literally in a panic situation. Another tip is that you can buy the stick or this handle separately and the brush and the wiper separately and the rollers separately, and just you can save the cost by buying them separately instead of buying everything with the handle. So that just saves you significantly, but nonetheless, definitely buy some extra rollers. Uh, those are the lifesaver there. So this is the final leg of the video. We're going to be going through the step-by-step process. You can surely skip it if the initial summary section has covered all the aspects you were looking for. The first stage in the journey is the preparation. Preparation is basically cleaning the floor as clean it is. It's just going to make the coating process uh, breeze, and the final product quality literally depends on this. So we did have a kind of a lot of minor issues, but we started with the very basics like cleaning the floor with the pressure washer and then applied the etch, which came along with the product. So I had kind of two separate garages, like one is a single car garage and another is a two-car garage. In the single car garage, I just used the etch which came along with the Rustoleum kit. In the second garage, which is basically two-car garage, I even went ahead with the product for which would sort of degrease. Now I didn't technically need it, but there were some spots which I thought probably might benefit from it. Quite candidly, I did not see a huge difference, but I'm going to be showing that product when we get to the two-car garage later on, and you would see that in action too. So on the single car garage, we basically very simply cleaned the whole floor few times, and then etch, and then again cleaned it, and that was predominantly um, what we did. I did not go through any floor repairs. There were minor hairline cracks and chipping on the floor, but I literally did not go repair anything there. It's just cleaning is all we did. With that, let's see how the final product looked. All right, this is how the finished product looks like. Um, we're kind of happy overall, and I'll show you the problems what I encountered. But pretty neat actually. It was not at all difficult. Took us like about 45 minutes to do it. Definitely keep a helping hand over to the sides. You need a brush for the sides, and you need somebody who is just doing the brush on the sides. We kind of realized that having the ideal situation to do the garage floor is very tricky. Kind of no rain in the next 48 hours, humidity, temperature, all of that would be quite tricky. Um, and from a problems point of view, I think we kind of missed taping some areas. They don't sound very obvious, like for example this door, the garage side door. It just didn't strike us. I mean, and we haven't taped that one, and I think that's okay. We can clean it later. Second is that we started from this area. I don't know if it's visible. The coating is a little thicker than that side, So we started to kind of run out of the product towards this zone. And if you would see very closely in person, you'll see that there are cracks popping out. I don't know if it's the kind of amount of product to use, but this is surely thinner than that side because I started from that side. I think we were using a little more than suggested. It was kind of maybe a learning curve there. Some of the areas, I think this is where the concrete was kind of scraped, and as you will see, the product didn't fill in very well because of the light reflection. This was not very obvious at that point. I think this is another aspect which is very similar. This seems to be a tire mark. After cleaning, this was not at all something we were seeing, but it's there. And so this one, and for some reason I think we had the side of some portion of the garage rim which had the extra cement. I do not know if it was repaired or something, but if you see, you will see that as a different color tone. It's kind of quite obvious. It doesn't matter how much product you applied, it's there everywhere. On a grand scheme of things, I mean, I'm just pointing this out, but these don't look bad at all. You would not notice them once you start putting the stuff in. I'm thinking to kind of do the second coat on this side. I still have to finish the other two car garage, so I gotta start moving that stuff here. So this is how we stop. So by the way, as you may see, we have like one car, and there's an passage here, a little extra room. Up to this wall, we cleaned everything and prepared. This is about 200 and roughly 75 square foot. So I think the product did precisely about 250 square foot is my feel. So if I wouldn't have done this passage, this one, that's technically one car garage, and then I would have had enough of material to cover this side, equivalent to that much of product thickness. So yeah, I think what either you use, this one is not bad actually, I mean, either you just follow a very strict guideline of 2 inches pretty much when you spread it, and do it in a 4x4. That's a trick. I think once you start rolling, you would end up going a little bigger than 4x4 zones, and then you lose track of the quantity you're pouring, and For the first timers, then maybe okay. So now we are doing the two car. After finishing the first car, I've learned the lessons where things were bad. So I think some of these cracks, I think I'm not gonna heal them, but they might show up. And you see, these are the tire marks. They're not going through the edge. So I bought a degreaser this time, and I'll share the brand later that works. But we are etching, and hopefully plan to finish this week. All right. So finally, the whole garage is etched and washed a few times. This time we are even trying to take precaution on the tire marks, which kind of sort of popped out. I tried to kind of put the degreaser on it. Um, I think it did some job. I mean, there was sort of a oilish feel here, but these are tire marks, like not the oil stains. So with the etching, I used the Rustoleum cleaner and etch this time, and I think that caused some stains. Maybe I let it sit for longer than required. But we have taped the walls and the outer perimeter, and it's been thoroughly cleaned. It's been dried out. We checked through the mechanism Rustoleum said to put kind of a plastic wrap and tape it, and then see if there's no moisture. Then you're all set to go. So that's looking good. We finished the other one car garage, and the product kind of finished, not really filling up the whole thing because I think it did cover 270 square foot, which is okay. So I'm gonna actually cover a portion of this and the two car today, and I do have one more extra leftover, which I'm thinking to actually do a double coat on this side once I move the stuff here. So yeah, this side is a big mess, and once we finish this, we start kind of arranging things properly and kind of get going. So yeah, so the product I used for degreaser is pull it out. I think it's okay. There were really rave reviews, but I'm not sure. I think it's okay. Maybe I don't have the oil stains to really test it. So the other problem is like with the other kit. Now the chips are blue. The previous ones were black. So if you see, we have black and white. Now these are blue, black, and white. So I think we're thinking to maybe do this side blue, black, and white chips. They're looking nicer on the black and white, more colorful. And maybe if we like it during the second coat here on the single, we'll probably continue with the blue, black, and white this side too, or it'll be a hybrid. So yeah, all set, and roller, brush, and the product is all you need today. Alrighty, we'll show you how the finished product looks like after this. So this time I'm going to take a precaution of 4x4. Last time I went over 4x4 zone, so, and I was like not sure if it dries up faster. So I think roughly 40 minutes the product started to kind of harden. So our goal is to finish one packet, one zone, and then keep going. So today temperature is also promising, about 75 degree outside, so that's like quite ideal. And let's see how it goes. Right, so this color was different from the earlier dark gray one. So we got the dark gray, and we're going to do the second coat on it. Anyways, I think we were running out of material, as you may see. A lot of patches here. I don't think this is a floor issue. Here. So either I put the less product or or something else, but I kind of barely covered the two car, and as you can see, I've not poured access anywhere. So let's see how it goes with the second coat. Yeah, and there's no preparation. We did not put any car or nothing, just basically footsteps on it since then. So we just dry sweep or basically blow dry. I'm saying blow dry, blow clean. Use the blower to kind of clean the dust, and that's all we have done. So that's what Rustoleum recommended. So we'll just go based on their advice not to put any water or anything. All right, so we're finally done with the second coat. The color issue has gone, and actually after the second coat it looks way better. We also covered the sides actually. You have to still remove the tapes, but let me take you over the findings from this side. So the cracks, I think they may be lightly visible. They have been suppressed quite a bit, but they would not go away if you're not going to prep that ahead, which I think, as I said before, we are okay. But apart from that, pretty much every issue has gone. I don't see, there were like brush marks here, and then there was sort of a floor patch here which appeared like the floor preparation. So I think all of those issues are gone. So I think my recommendation is that those would translate into kind of a little expensive proposition, but two coat is what is needed. It just looks way better, and instead of kind of doing thicker coat in one go, I think it's a good idea to have one coat, let it dry up, and do the another coat, and that would give you a much better run, because you would be able to spot the problems and specifically treat them at the second coat. For example, like this side of the garage, I started on that end, finished that side, and then started on this end towards the wall, and then came all the way here. And by the time you kind of reach here, at the end, there's very less product left. On the second coat, I started on this side, and then went towards the back, and then kind of on the other side, I just made from wall to the door, because that side was anyways good. I think the problem is that if you buy a different time, or I don't know what's wrong. Now this is exactly the same product. I think one thing you would see is that there's a lot less product needed when you apply the second coat, right? So you'll have a lot of leftover. So be generous when you kind of pour the material. Try to really have a nice thick even layer. If you see here, I had a lot of the product left towards this side, and I don't know, you may be able to see that this is slightly more thicker. I mean, I know you may not be able to kind of see the difference, but you would have a lot of product left. So I thought of kind of making use of that and do second coat here on the first car garage I did, and it's exactly the same product. You see here, the color doesn't blend. I mean, it's both a dark grays, high extreme gloss, and the color doesn't blend. Now I do plan to do the second coat on this car garage too, so I'm not much worried of this kind of different color here, but in case you're not planning it that way, be careful. Exactly the same color tone, the second coat makes a difference, and even in the color, I think that's more bluish, and this is more dark gray. So I don't know, but the colors may not blend. So be careful when you buy in one go the extra stuff you need. I mean, what you could do is like plan for the double coat and get the material, make sure it has the same manufacturing and everything, and then do the single coat And if you're happy with a single coat and you don't feel the need of a second coat, return it. That way it's much easier to kind of have exactly the same product, matching color, and not have any discrepancies like this. I personally think the 2 coats is what you need. I mean, this is 1 coat, and you may see the difference here. This is okay too. I mean, I personally don't see any issues here, but I think the 2 coat really makes this thing pop out like anything. So I've seen like people do the clear coat on top. I don't have experience with that, but that may be another thing to consider. Kind of do 1 coat and then do a clear coat on it, and that might give it a different thing. So I mean, on a cost, this would start to become very close to, not very close, but I would say close to what the contractors would offer, and they may be able to cover nuances like this garage cracks. And if you have really old car garage with a lot of tire marks and grease, I think it may be probably worth going the contractor route. I don't know. Their finish and everything looks really good. But I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, you can post it on the chat, and we can look into this. Good luck. So we're going to be doing the second coat on the single car garage now. It's actually, after a few days, it's looking really bad. I think you can see the roller marks. I don't know why this happens in the first coat. Maybe not enough product, or some areas of the concrete are different. As you see, discoloration. This is kind of happening after a week. We didn't notice this pretty much on the day when it was all looking very nice. So I hope it doesn't happen to the other side. And our goal is to kind of blend. I mean, this is a dark gray. As you may see, it looks very different, and I'm fearing that it's going to remain different. It's going to be probably this tone. So I've at a separator, I put the tape. So I'm gonna actually do the whole this side, 1 color theme, and then that separates that side with this color. So let's see how it goes, and if that helps, the second coat helps. I mean, there are a lot of visible cracks after 1 week. This discoloration is really looking bad. We did put the stuff here, and it should not happen nonetheless. Anyways, with respect to cleaning, I was told by Rustoleum to not do etch. It's only etching is for concrete, so we just kind of remove the dust with the blower, and did a slight wipe. So it's looking clean, and that's all we need to do as a preparation. It's kind of tad easier. Now we have not moved the car in. We just put the side of the stuff in here, so it's all dust, and that's pretty much it. There's human traffic movement. So all right, once I'm done, I'll give you the final view in terms of how it looks after the second coat. So this is a before second coat, and I'll give you the picture of the after second coat. So I mean, this side blended with the new, this side blended. I don't know what happened here. It's still wet, but all of this side is a different color. I just don't know why. I think that all looks like one color, and from here on, I can see it's two different colors. God knows what was different here. The whole thing is wet at the moment. We just finished coating. All right. So after third coat, the color has blended. The discoloration issues go away. It looks better. It kind of blends with my other side of the garage, which was an issue. We kind of ran out of chips for the first time. In the single car garage, you have lesser chips, so you got to be careful on that. And we had a lot of imperfections. If you would see the earlier footage with the cracks, with the multiple coats, this is the third coat. Those disappeared. This kind of also adds some friction if you do the multiple coat, because there are chips before. And yeah, I think pretty much all the problems disappeared. Now, I don't know if you were able to see it looked different, like in terms of the coatings, and then there were like slight differences with the application. I kind of ran out of the product pretty much towards this side, but this color was already darker, if you may recall from the prior video. Only on the other side it was a problem, so I kept going and did a little thinner coat. But since this is already two coats, this is third, so I think it doesn't look very different. So yeah, we're letting it dry, and that finishes up the project finally. So on the other side we did two coats. On this side we end up doing three coats. I'll keep you posted on the durability, because I'm pretty sure mine is one of case with three coats. And I've heard a lot of horror stories that after 6 months, you start to see tire marks and whatnot. So let's see how it surfaces. I have a small sedan and an SUV, and we'll see. Okay. Good luck with your project.